Hi everyone, welcome to today's invigorating Yogalates flow. We're going to be flowing through a variety of standing and seated postures to energize and invigorate the body. When you're ready, we'll get started in Tadasana, mountain pose, feet a hip width distance apart. Inhale, extend the arms overhead, and we'll find a side body stretch on the left, interlacing our fingers gently around the right wrist and leaning towards the left. Exhale back to center, and we'll go again on the other side. Grabbing a hold of that left wrist with the right fingertips, stretching to the right, finding that stretch along the left side body. One more time, either side. This time we'll lower our arm down the left leg as we extend our right arm overhead. Seeing if you can creep those fingertips towards the knee. Working on engaging the obliques. Exhale, center. Once more on the right hand side, lowering the right fingertips down the right side of the leg and extending the left arm overhead. Exhale, gently release the stretch. From here, we are going to set up for Utkatasana chair pose. Standing in mountain pose, again, feet a hip width distance apart, drawing the navel towards the spine, engaging the core. Inhale, sink the hips back. Extend the arms overhead. Exhale, rise, squeeze the glutes at the top. And again, inhale, lower down. Exhale, rise. Just like this, flowing with the breath. Working on engaging those inner thighs, squeezing them together, sinking the hips back as low as you can. Whilst being mindful of the knees, we want to ensure that they're not going further than the toes. You might like to take a look down and see if you can see your toes coming out from behind your knees. Checking in with the breath, finding a mindful rhythm that is conducive with your energy level. If you would like to slow down or speed up the movements, know that that is okay. Perhaps matching the duration of your inhales with your exhales. From here, we'll stay down and pulse. Small movement, sinking those hips back, staying low in a squat, grounding down through the heels whilst using the ball of the foot and all 10 toes for support. Although this is a small movement, it is very powerful for generating heat, energy within the body, affording us the opportunity to hone in on our focus, our concentration. Breathe. Seeing if you can unclench the jaw, soften the muscles of the face. And although the arms are remaining extended, let us try and roll those shoulders back and down, creating length between the ears and the tops of the shoulders. A few more pulses. We have got this, and stay down and hold a static posture. Can you lower those hips, the sits bones a little more, sink back a little bit more into this squat? If any tension begins to arise, simply guide your breath to that region, whether it be mental or physical. Know that you can do this. You are here showing up. A few more breaths. Keeping everything strong, broadening across the chest. One more breath. Exhale, gently release, coming up to Tadasana. And we'll turn to face the long edge of our mat. Again, coming into Utkatasana chair pose, feet hip width distance apart. Sinking the hips back and finding an arm gesture that works for you. Maybe keeping the arms extended, joining the palms together, or placing one forearm over the other. We're going to stay low in our squat. And we're going to take 2 steps to the right, stay down, pulse for 2, 2 steps to the left, pulse for 2, and again, 2 baby steps to the left, stay down and pulse for 2, and this time 2 larger steps to the right, taking us to the right side of the mat, and we'll stay down and pulse for 4, 2 steps to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, step to the right, and again, pulse 1, 2, 3, 4, just like this. taking 2 steps to the left, staying low, really working on getting those hips back as low as you can for this whole movement, really activating the glutes, the quads, the gluteus medius here as we work on stabilizing ourselves as we facilitate movement in a lateral plane. A few more, we have got this, staying down, pulse, 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 and back to center, and we'll stay down and squat. A few more, just like this, exhale, release, come up to Tadasana, widen the stance, coming into a goddess squat, heels in, toes out on an angle, and we're going to sink our hips back, creating 90-degree angles with the legs and the surface beneath you. Inhale, extend the arms overhead, joining the palms together. And we're working on creating a slight tuck of the pelvis so that we're not arching into the back. We're squeezing those glutes, the inner thighs, the outer thighs. Work on grounding down through the heels whilst using the balls of the feet and the toes for support and stability. Keeping that core engaged, rolling the shoulders back. One more breath. Exhale, release. Gently heel toeing the feet together. We'll turn to face the short edge of the mat, grounding down through the left leg, placing one forearm on top of the other, engaging the core. We're going to step our right leg back, and we're going to lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower. Single movements, small, controlled, just like this. You might like to keep the leg up or gently tap your big toe down on the floor for support. We're keeping the hips squared. The supporting knee, the left leg, is bent. You might be feeling it in the gluteus medius of that leg, and really using the gluteus maximus, the fleshy part of the bum, on the right leg to help you lift that leg. We'll stay up and pulse. Small movements, finding a steady gaze. Breathing into any tension. We're not here for long. Stay up and hold. How high can you lift that back leg whilst maintaining a stable foundation and without overcompensating into the back? Exhale, release, and we'll go on the other side, bending the right leg, and we'll extend the left leg behind. Lift and lower, lift, lower, lift, lower, just like this. Using the glutes for support, tapping the big toe down if you like, or for a challenge, simply doing single leg lifts whilst floating the leg off the whole time. Checking in with your foundation, evenly distributing weight across that right foot. The knee is bent, core engaged, hips squared. Stay up and pulse, small pulses. How high can you get that leg? Really feeling it at the junction between the upper hamstrings where they meet the glutes. Stay up and hold. Lift that leg a little higher. Engage that core a little more. A few more breaths. You have got this. And gently release. Inhale, extend the arms overhead. Exhale, lower them to heart center. You can stay where you are. I'm going to turn to face the long edge of the mat for this demonstration. We're going to work on stabilizing the legs with some more unilateral movements, coming into some lateral leg lifts on the right. So lift and lower, keeping the left leg grounded, slight micro bend, small movements. Hips are squared, knees are facing forwards, the right foot is flexed, and it doesn't have to be a big movement. We just want to lift the leg enough to the side that we begin to feel the activation in the abductors, the gluteus medius, our stabilizing muscles. Small and controlled movements. 2 more single leg lifts, and then we'll stay up and pulse, keeping that leg raised high. Yes, this can be a bit of a challenge. Breathe into that tension. Send nourishing pranic life force to the regions of the body where you are feeling it. Know that you can do this. Stay up and hold. A static movement. Can you lift that leg a little higher? A few more breaths. And gently release. Maybe shaking the hips out once or twice. We'll get set up to go on the other side, stepping the left leg out. Keep foot is flexed. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Again, if you need the extra support, you are welcome to tap the foot down and lift it right up again. There is no competition. Show up to yourself authentically, listen to what your body needs, and recognizing that there are imbalances. So if one side feels a little more challenging, be compassionate with yourself. We'll stay up and pulse. Small movements, being mindful to keep both hips squared, both knees are facing forwards. Really feeling it in the outer glutes here. Stay up and hold. Slow, intentional breaths. We have got this. Last 3, 2, 1, and gently release. Inhale, extend the arms overhead and float them down by your side. We'll give our legs a little bit of a break. Inhale, float the arms up at shoulder height, and we'll begin to lift our arms up and down, keeping everything engaged, feeling yourself growing long through the fingertips. Really small movements. Up, down, just like this. Really keeping everything switched on. We're broadening across the chest, the collarbones, working on drawing the shoulder blades back and down away from the ears, and checking in with the core. We're keeping a slight tuck of the pelvis so that we're not overcompensating into our lower back. This again seems like a small movement, but after a few minutes we are going to feel the burn. Stay with it, stay focused. Small and controlled movements. Create that mindful breath, body awareness. Softening into the knees. Keeping the arms elevated, we are going to swap the direction of the hands. So palms are now facing towards the sky. Same movement, lifting up and down, keeping everything long, activated. You have got this. Hone in on that focus. Guide yourself to this moment with the breath. Perhaps taking a moment to appreciate all that the body affords us. Our capacity to move, perform daily tasks with ease, connect with nature. There is so much to be grateful for. A few more in this position, keeping those arms strong. We have got this. Last 3, 2, 1. Roll the shoulders back. Well done. We're going to lower down onto our mats, facing the short edge, coming down onto our sits bones. Palms are underneath shoulders. You might like to have your fingertips facing the long edge of the mat or having them face the short edge behind you, finding an adjustment that works for you, grounding down through the heels, and we're going to lift those hips up, lifting up through the pelvis and lowering back down. Lower and lift, squeezing the glutes at the top, keeping the arms extended. So we're not doing a tricep dip here. The work is really coming from the glutes, the hamstrings, lifting through the pelvis at the top, keeping that core engaged, and being mindful to keep the inner thighs engaged as well. We're not splaying the thighs opened, and the knees aren't knocking together either. So there's a lot of intentionality, a lot of control. Small movements, lower and lift, lower and lift. For a bit more of a challenge, you might like to float your toes up in the air, simply grounding down through the heels. A few more, and we'll stay up and pulse, really working on getting that pelvis at knee height, finding one line from the shoulders down to the knees, squeezing those glutes, softening the neck, relaxing the muscles of the face. We have got this. A few more pulses. Breathe. Checking in with your foundation, and stay up and hold. Lift those hips a little higher. Squeeze the inner thighs, the glutes a little more. Broaden across the chest. Let go of any tension or stress. A few more breaths. Lifting up a little higher. Last 3, 2, 1. And gently lower the hips down. Well done. We have a couple more exercises left. So we are going to work our way onto our back, coming into a supine position, maybe placing your palms under the legs to guide yourself down one vertebra at a time. Bringing the heels closer to the glutes. You might like to extend your arms, ground down through the palms, or flex the elbows and have the fingertips pointed skywards for a little bit more support. We're going to come into some bridge lifts, raising the hips and lowering down with control. Lifting the lower back, the mid back, the upper back off the mat and lowering down one vertebra at a time. Small and controlled movements. This is a great way to stretch out the hip flexors, as well as supporting our pelvic stability and strengthening the glutes, which are key players in just about everything that we do throughout the day. So this is a wonderful exercise to incorporate into your daily practice if possible. Continuing with these slow and controlled bridge lifts. Checking in with your feet. Are you grounding down through the heels, using the toes for support, or lifting the toes off if you'd like more of a challenge? We'll keep the hips up and pulse. Small movements, really working on engaging the inner thighs. We want to keep our hips in line with our knees. Small lifts, you have got this. Pulse a little higher. Breathe. Feel the engagement, feel the strength, feel the connection, and stay up and hold, lifting that pelvis, lifting the hips, relaxing the muscles of the face. We are not here for long. Last 3, 2, 1, gently lower down with control. We're going to walk our heels out slightly, keeping the heels grounded, toes are lifted, and we're going to lift one leg at a time, flexing the knee towards the chest. Small movements, really challenging our stability here as we lift one leg off at a time, beginning to fire up the hamstrings. A really great exercise to strengthen and support the lower back. Keeping those hips lifted, we want them to be level. If you notice yourself sinking to one side when you lift one leg off the ground, just mindfully guide yourself to the midline, taking any breaks if you need. Keeping those hips high, single leg lifts, we have got this, and lower. From here we're going to come into a Utkatasana bridge, soles of the feet touch, knees are splayed wide, and just lift and lower. Just like before, making any adjustments, you might like to bring the heels closer into the glutes. And once you've found your positioning, single leg lift and lowers with control, squeezing the glutes together at the top. Again, if you'd like a challenge, flexing the elbows, keeping the fingertips pointed skywards. Softening the muscles of the face, breathing through any tension, finding your rhythm that works for you today. Really lowering the vertebra down with control. We want to protect our bodies. A few more. Checking in with the foundation. Are you grounding down through the blade edges of the feet? Or stay up and pulse. Small movements, lifting those hips higher, squeezing those glutes, working the entire body here. Few more pulses. We have got this. Keep those hips raised. Maybe bringing a smile to the face. We are not here for long. I know you're feeling the burn. Okay, stay up and hold a static lift. This is our last exercise in this posture. Keeping them raised, lift and squeeze a little higher. Yes. You can do this. Last few seconds, stay high. Last 3, 2, 1, and gently lower with control. Well done. You might like to fan the legs out once or twice before we set up for our last exercise of this class. We are going to come into a figure 4 bridge lift, placing the lateral edge of that right foot on top of the left, and single leg lifts. Really working on keeping those hips level with one another. Grounding down through the left heel. You might like to adjust to the stance of that foot if that helps. Really working on unilateral stability and strength here. These postures are wonderful if you have any imbalances in the body that you'd like to correct. You can really focus on one region of the body at a time. We'll stay up and pulse. Lift those hips a little higher. You have got this. Small movements, keeping the glutes engaged. Last little bit of work. Stay up and hold. Static movement, squeezing the glutes, lifting a little bit higher. Yes, breathe through it and release. Well done. Okay, swapping to the other side, crossing the left foot over the right thigh, lift and lower, lift and lower, just like this. Keeping those hips high, keeping the hips squared. If you notice yourself swaying to one side, you might like to slightly guide that foot towards the midline if that helps to stabilize you. And again, if you'd like that challenge, having the elbows flexed, fingertips facing towards the sky, really working on lower body stability. Stay up and pulse. How high can you get those hips? Squeeze those glute muscles. Stay up and hold. Last few seconds. Last little bit of work. We have got this. Last 3, 2, 1, and lower down. Well done. Draw the knees towards the chest, maybe bringing the chin towards the knees. Transitioning into Suptagomo Cow Face, Supine Cow Face pose, we'll cross our left leg over our right, aligning the knees and grabbing a hold of the blade edges of the feet with the palms and the fingers, working on drawing the heels away from the midline and bringing the legs close to the chest. Really feeling a deep stretch in the outer hips, the glutes, creating space after we've just sent a lot of energy and focus into these regions of the body. Letting go. Being mindful to keep the lower back in contact with the surface beneath you. Perhaps feeling a slight massage in the lower back. Gently release, and we'll take this posture on the other side. This time crossing the right leg over the left, keeping the hand gesture the same. Breathing into those outer hips, letting go of any tension, letting go of any thoughts that might be coming to the surface. Simply allowing yourself to be in this moment as you are. Two more slow and gradual breaths in this posture, and we'll gently uncross the legs. From here we'll take Supine Pigeon pose, crossing the lateral edge of the right foot on top of the left thigh, maybe interlacing the fingers around the thigh, the left shin, drawing that knee towards your chest, keeping the right foot flexed as you press the right knee away from the body. Again, feeling a lovely stretch along the outer hips, perhaps a slight release for the hip flexors. Letting go. One more breath. And gently releasing, uncrossing the legs, and we'll take Supine Pigeon pose on the other side, placing the ankle or the blade edge of that left foot on top of the right thigh, finding a bind that is conducive with your energy levels for today, melting into the posture. 3 more slow, intentional breaths. And when you're ready, mindfully releasing from the posture, rolling like a ball. We'll massage the spine out a few times, releasing tension along the back of the neck. And when you're ready, coming into a seated position, you might like to join me in diamond pose. Roll the shoulders back and down, interlace the fingers behind your back, really stretch and broaden across the chest, the heart space, maybe gazing up. And after a moment, swapping the grip so that the opposite finger is in front, and again, interlacing the fingers, finding a stretch. Inhale, extend the arms overhead. Exhale, we'll find a twist on the right hand side, placing the outer edge of that left hand on the right thigh, maybe tenting up onto the right fingertips behind you. Back to center. Inhale, extend the arms overhead. Exhale, we'll take the twist on the other side, placing the outer edge of the right palm next to the left thigh, tenting up onto the left fingertips, maybe gazing over that shoulder or looking behind you. Exhale, release. Joining the palms together. Well done on today. Thank you all so much. Namaste.